For entrepreneurs and business owners listening to this right now, strategy is everything. Don't second guess. Don't hesitate to slow yourself down, to be able to build a concept that works, to be able to build a concept that fits into the goals and the vision of the business. And that will allow you to not only get that concept out there in a way that'll be successful, but be able to compound on that success over time.
Welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs, growing 1% everyday podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Kaizen for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we get to discuss how to grow 1% every day in both business and itself. Today, we have Keren Camou, a serial entrepreneur and a badass marketer who specializes in helping clients tell their stories authentically and effectively. She has launched over 350 books and helped entrepreneurs from all over the world humanize their brand. Thank you, Keren, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Kyle. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I mean, we went back and forth a little bit before the call started of all the things that you're doing, kind of the journey you've had, and like the journey you've had this year of all the traveling that you're doing. So do you want to give our listeners a little bit of a background of where you come from, where your expertise really stems from, and what gets you motivated to help businesses today and really help them grow what their dreams are?
Well, that is a very long answer. A lot of questions in one. But so what was most excited about, most exciting for me about marketing was unfortunately finding a lot of marketing agencies lying to people about trying to over promise and under deliver. So one of my friends launched a book. In that book, I started neurolinguistics. So my number one passion has been always learning how learning, and information is acquired in the brain. That's my number one thing. And that ended up being actually marketing at the end of the day, right? You just want to have a product, you want to sell it, you want to sell a service, you want to sell yourself. How do you actually make that connection? That was my number one thing. So my friend, Craig Hanley, launched a book, and he had this book being a book, he as a marketer himself, this book wasn't selling. So for me, I always like to understand the why this is not being like sold, why is people not really buying. So I started studying more and more and more about the why. So I think that's a question that we always have to ask ourselves: why this is not working? Not finding excuses, but why, and actually look at every single launch as a study. Like, what if you study something and really look at all the details, the data, the information, what's happening, the audience. So that's how our journey with marketing started, with one book that it wasn't selling. And then we started developing all the marketing around it. And we end up seeing that a lot of marketing agencies, again, were over-promising and under-delivering. And when I started helping people with marketing, I found a lot of business owners, decision makers, being so scared of the next marketing agency coming to over-promise and under-deliver. And that was sad. That was, I had this call with this lady who paid $100,000 for a book launch. And she sold 3 books. And she was in tears. And she was like, Keren, I spent a lot of money on this. And for a lot of authors, I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them, this is their legacy project. This is a project that they put years into it. And the fact that they're not selling books most of the time, it's not their fault. It's a lack of a strategy on a marketing, the lack of strategy with their marketing, and the lack of planning before they launch. So when we took over his book, we started selling more books, and then obviously more people started seeing it, because when you're doing one thing right, it's like those, word of mouth conversation, like all these conversations and all these referrals will come. So that's how my journey started with marketing. And today it's my passion, right? Like, I really like to tell people, don't do it. Don't hire me, or you're wrong. That's my favorite thing. I love to tell them, you're so wrong. You're doing this so wrong. But if you want to stick to that idea you have, it's fine. Good luck. Great. But on the other hand, I really like to advise because I feel like right now, when it comes to marketing, we have so much information out there. And marketing is like, if you're a chef, you're a marketer. So you're a chef, I'm a chef. We both create our different recipes. And you probably have, like, just imagine you have a restaurant and I have a restaurant. So people will love your recipe because that works for them and what they need. And then they will probably like my recipe because that's what they need. It's not that you're wrong or I'm right. The only thing that us as marketers need to do is explain to our clients, friends, the people we serve at the end of the day, what our recipe looks like in the short term and the long run, so they can see if they're going to choose my restaurant or yours, right? So I started understanding not just from the marketing perspective, but from the consumer perspective and from the author, from the personal brand, from the company, that there is a marketing agency out there for them, and not every single marketing agency fits all. And yeah, so that's how everything started. And marketing is one of my passions, but I would say more learning and asking myself why. And that actually drives more of understanding audiences, understanding SEO, understanding AI, and like seeing what's the best fit. And if we're not the best fit at social close for a company, I'm so happy to send it somewhere else because I know that I'm not going to serve them the recipe they need. So for me, I come from a background of teaching. I was a teacher for 10 years. So education is everything. And I feel like educating our people and saying this is not the right thing to do, or this is not the way to do it, or this is not the way that I've done it based on my experience, and not being so selfish and really trying to get clients just because we want clients, but actually seeing that this other person is making an investment of time, effort. And there's only three things that a company will be successful if they do it. One is taking care of their people, taking care of their finances, and having great marketing. Does it, right? If you don't have those three things, then you don't have a business. And most of the people have products and services, but they don't have a business. And that's when companies and personal brands and products fail. It's because they haven't like really worked on what is exactly what I need. Therefore, I can choose my right marketing agency or my right marketing person or my right marketing Fiverr graphic designer, So that has been an exciting journey for me to really assess people and teach and explain and say, okay, are we a fit? But if we're not, let's be friends because I know there's collaboration happening. So I think that's my number one core. How do we make this from a marketing standpoint a better place, a better world where we can just do good, right? And still do business? Because to me, my company and marketing is just an excuse to do good. Actually, 2 years ago, I had to make a decision because you and I, we have a responsibility, which is having a megaphone. We give people megaphones. We give people exposure. We give people visibility. So we have to be really responsible. Who are we giving visibility to? So it's been a blessing for me to actually have authors that are making an impact, sharing their stories, and they happen to have companies and other businesses. But to me, I feel like doing marketing and having this, the agency has been a blessing. So I can learn from now my friends, right? Because I don't consider them my clients, they're my friends. And we've been able to impact lives with their work and their stories. Yeah, that's in a nutshell, a little bit of what I do, what I believe, and why we started and why I started in marketing.
Karen, how beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful. I mean, first of all, as a teacher and knowing the education field and then coming in here to help people out, being focused on neurolinguistics and understanding that education and knowledge is one of the most important things and embodying that today and still holding on to that, right? Diversifying the way that you're helping these businesses to really care about their structure and really focus on, like you said, some of these people, this is their legacy project. This is what they try to do and they try to execute for their entire lives, and understanding how valuable that is to their life, to their business, to their psychology as a human being, all of that coming together. So let me ask you this, having the background of the neurolinguistics and obviously focusing in on authors that are trying to sell books, what are you guys doing it differently? Obviously, there's a lot of marketing agencies out there that cut corners, right? But if you're going to give them 100%, is there something that you've learned through your studying as an individual or the way that you handle the clients that are different than, say, somebody in the competition that is still pulling out all the bells and whistles for their authors, but maybe not hitting the same results?
So there are over 5,000 books being launched on a daily basis. And I'm sure the same thing happens with products. The same thing happens with courses. The same thing happens with, every single thing that is being launched every day. So, um, one of the things that I see we do different is a strategy. People go to activation mode right away. They want to go and activate their social media. They want to activate their email list. They want to activate. They don't even think about the community aspect. Um, it's really important. It's everything. Why do I have to trust you? So after the pandemic, after COVID, our consumers changed. They're different. We all think different. We all go to look for reviews. We want to trust the product. We want to trust the service. We're not going to go and buy right away. That's the same thing with an author, right? Maybe you have a great idea, you have a great book, which we will call it a great product. But who are you? I see a lot of influencers in real life. That's how I call it. The people that actually have a book, they're influencers in real life. Amazing. How do we move influencers from real life to digital world? So you're nobody in the digital world and you are going to sell something that is digital. So they have to go through that transition. They have to sometimes let their ego, right? Yes, you have a book. Yes, an amazing story. Yes, your friends and family, they are going to buy it. You're probably going to sell 1,000, 2,000 copies by yourself with your network, with the people that is going to help you, with the company of your friend that is going to buy a bulk order. But what is it exactly what you want to do on the long term? Let's not forget that a book, it's a marketing asset. It's not, it's a marketing asset and it's an evergreen project. So, um, let's say brands like Mel Robbins started with one book, right? But before that, she built a community before, like for years. So, but Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins actually said it right on the last time they had this event, and I loved it because Tony said everybody wants to be Tony, but nobody wants to build a brand for 25 years, right? So I was like, right, it's true. People want to have products and services and they want to have the numbers and they want to compare themselves to this XYZ person. But what they don't see is the work that has been done in the past for years before that book, before that launch, before that product, before that service. So what we're doing different, it's actually educating them and saying, hey, this is a path. You're a new author, this is a path. You can expect this number of books. These are the different things that you can do, from reaching out via DM to create content but this is what you can expect for new followers. At least you want to go to an agency that is going to lie to you and is going to buy followers for you. And you're not going to know, and you're going to have like, wow, this is great. But when you can't sell to bots, right? So bots don't buy books, bots don't buy products. So that's why I told you, like, I'm really, really honest, and my responsibility is to educate them. So I can say, this is the path as a new author. This is the path if you have a community. We've seen a lot of people with a lot of followers and a big email list, but they haven't connected with them. They've been just spamming them. So they have to warm them up. They have to activate them. They have to like work with their communities if they have built them already before they launch the book. And they definitely have to have a campaign. Like every launch needs a campaign, and a campaign shouldn't be less than 6 months. If you really want to make it work, it should be 6 months minimum of actually educating, talking, building that visibility before you even go and say, buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me. And we can always learn from other authors on what they're doing, but let's not forget, your product is yours, your community is yours, and everything is unique. If you want to replicate what others are doing, it's not going to happen, because your community is going to follow you because of you, and they're going to buy your products because, or I'm talking products, courses, books, events, etc. So yeah, that's what we do different. We see the strategy, and we see we give him a reality check, right? This is where you're at. And probably your PR agency told you you're gonna be in 300 magazines or 200 podcasts. Great, that doesn't sell books. So don't expect people to buy books from that. People buy books when you ask them to, with a direct call to action, when they believe in you or when they believe there's a value for them in it. So that's what we have to build and create in a campaign. And then once we have that campaign, then let's go to activation. Now, another thing I see very often with product services and books is activating something and not having the right funnels for it. When you don't have the right funnel, when you don't have the right upsell, when you don't have the right information, the right copy, the right customer journey, then that's going to be a problem because you're not going to have conversions. So yeah, in a nutshell, what we do different is everything, because we don't look at this as service providers. We're not providing a service. We are helping to map something that we know it's going to work. And we also are accountable for that, like we hold ourselves accountable if that went right, but also we hold ourselves accountable if that didn't work. And when things don't work, that gives us a lot of space to see, okay, what could we do different? Maybe we just tried something. Let's say a podcast tour for someone that it wasn't ready to be on podcast because he doesn't have the practice to actually share. And it's boring and it's stiff and it's like uncomfortable and people won't connect.
And Keren, I mean, incredible. I mean, just an overview of the positioning of your guys' differences and understanding that it does start at strategy. All of these campaigns start at strategy. Preparation is 80% of success in any category, anything that you do. So strategy and making sure it's aligned with the goals, the visions, and what the service, or in your case, what the book actually entails, right? Making sure that if you're going to put the messaging and the creative out there for an author, that creative and that messaging front facing resembles the kind of assets they put in their books, that resembles the kind of information that they're going to be telling in that book. So it's all synergized. So that way, when the customer does buy the book, instead of them being disappointed, they're excited, and it leads to positive word of mouth and a referral and more book sales and compounding of positivity on what you're doing. It's super important for entrepreneurs and business owners listening to this right now. Strategy is everything. Don't second guess. Don't hesitate to slow yourself down, to be able to build a concept that works, to be able to build a concept that fits into the goals and the vision of the business. And that will allow you to not only get that concept out there in a way that'll be successful, but be able to compound on that success over time. So, Keren, you are obviously extremely intelligent. You have a system that's very sufficient, and it's a system that is actually developing a large amount of success for these authors. Let me ask you, what kinds of trials and tribulations did you go through to build something like this? I mean, obviously, not every book launch can be successful, right? We'd hope that everyone would be, but is there anything that you can share with our listeners here, maybe a difficulty that you went through trying to promote a book or in the promotion and growth of your business that they could resonate with?
That's a very good question. But before that, I want to say AI is amazing. AI can write your book. AI can create your product. AI can create, your social media strategy. But just don't forget, it's AI and it's not a human. And we are humans trying to connect with other humans. And let's not forget that social media, it's called social for a reason. And AI cannot, like they can socialize, but it's really important that we don't forget that people connect to the brand because of the core values and the message and the reason, the reasoning behind the why that makes everybody cry, like Simon Sinek says, right? Um, so whether if you're creating a book or you're creating a product or a service, whatever you're creating, just the biggest problem I've seen, it's not having a brand book. People don't understand the power of having the right brand voice, and they all go for a logo and colors and all of this. That's the second thing. People don't connect with colors. Yeah, there's a psychology behind it, but the messaging, it's everything, and it has to be unique and it has to be yours. Yes, you can use AI for it. Yes, you can like use it as a tool, but don't give it all the responsibility to AI. You really need to create that information because that's how you're going to show yourself to the world. So when we launched Dave Asprey's book, who sold 300 copies in a month, right? Why? We were like, I told you, one of the things that we always do is the why this is working, why this is not working. So the first thing is like, ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why? And you have to have that really strong why and build that brand book. Understand who your reader is going to be. Most of the time when we create a product, I'm going to tell you this. It comes from, it's my idea. It's my product. I know it's going to work. I know it's my book. Everybody is going to be, loving it. And that's not true. You really have to look from your perspective, but then also you have to see it from the consumer perspective. And I learned this in teaching. When we're creating when we're creating a class, we're seeing teacher's objective and the student's objective and possible problems, possible solutions. So same thing, it has to happen when you're creating a product and when you're writing a book, right? You have to go for possible problems, possible solutions. What's my objective as an author? What do I want to get from this? Remove the ego, right? And try to say, okay, I want to really make an impact. I want to impact how many people? Just like when you manifest, when you have intentions, like really make it very clear. And what are all these readers are going to get from my book or from my product or from my service? What is the impact that I want to have? So you can really stick to it. Because launching a book is not easy. It's not easy when you're writing it. It's not easy when you're publishing it. It's not easy when you don't see sales happening. And unfortunately, all of those things happening are your responsibility as an author. One, because you probably didn't choose the right publishing house. You didn't do your study. What is self-publishing? What Amazon looks like? How much Amazon? You don't make money out of selling books. At least you're selling thousands and millions of books, and that's going to be over the years. Now, another mistake that I see is people not really having a pre-order campaign or like really testing and having an audience that reads it first, gives feedback, and create a community around the book so they can go and set and get reviews the first week of the launch. So if you have any author listening today, the 100 first reviews on Amazon will, if not reduce, lower the cost of your ads on Amazon all the time, because you're telling the algorithm people want to read this. And then you already have social proof. So you really want to build that. But it goes into your strategy. Another thing that you want to do is build a brand. Build even if you have 200 people on your followers, it's better to have 200 people who believe in you than 200,000 that won't buy books because they're bots. We've gone through, we've been invited to participate into book launches with people with 1.2, 5.3 million followers across social media. And then when we go there, AI help us to see the back end of those social media. And when we see their audience credibility is 0.3% out of 1.2 million. Even though that looks big, finding those people is going to be difficult. And then there's something even worse than buying followers: buying likes, buying interactions, and buying views. It's your responsibility when you're building a brand, really knowing how your marketing agency or your marketing person or your person in Fiverr, it's working. What are they doing to get you those people? Now, I'm going to ask you a question. When was the last time you followed someone that you don't know? That person, either for someone else that referred that person to you or made an introduction. We're not following people that easy like we used to do before the pandemic. We're really responsible into whose content we're consuming. And you probably are the algorithm is going to show you now the person without you following that person, because it's actually detecting you staying with that video. So it's going to show that to you. So you don't need to follow that person. So if, like I said, even if you have those 200 people, those are 200 lives. And it's important that you picture it in a room. 200 people, it's a lot of people, right? And you treat them with respect, with love, and you take care of them. And authors, sometimes they just go for the product, finish the product, and they don't have a plan. So when you are writing and starting to write your book, start with your marketing agency. Start thinking about what the upsell is going to be, what the downsell is going to be, what the free assets you're going to have, that everything is aligned with, like I said before, your mission and your vision by writing this book and making an impact. So
Karen,
I
super
can
powerful.
continue giving you more and more things, because I hate when I see authors going without information. And again, everybody is excited about launching something, but it's like dating, right? After 2-3 months, nobody is out there calling it or nobody is going to be interested because the hype it's over. So how do you actually continue? And then another thing is they feel like they don't want to be pushy and salesy. It's your responsibility. That visibility is your responsibility, right? So you have to find a way to make it where you're always providing value. And what the moment you decided to launch a book, that moment you're officially a personal brand, whether you like it or not. So the book sales are strictly attached to your marketing agency and your sales plan. And once a book is really good and people read that book and you're really excited when they don't have anything else that you're offering, no course, nothing else, they go and follow you and you don't bring value, they're like, okay, that was a cool book. Bye. Right. Next. But when you see that same person in the next book and the following book and the course, they want more. It's not just about you. Your audience and your readers want more from you. And you're also responsible of giving them that as well.
Karen has such valuable information, especially for all of us entrepreneurs. I know me personally, I will be writing a book in my lifetime. My goal is to publish a book specifically on entrepreneurs, marketing, developing a business, developing a psychology of how to be an elite and how to develop into a position of strength and confidence in yourself. And it sounds like you're doing that for every single one of clients that you have, making sure that not only they have a clear understanding of their path, where they're going, but also an execution plan to ensure that they are going to be able to represent themselves correctly in the market, that the book does get read, and that it's leading to bigger and better things within their company that allows them to actually scale and grow their business, not just by the sales of the book, but also by the influence that they put in the world by leveraging said book. So incredible. I got one last question for you. Where is it going? Where is the industry leading to? As you've gone through this and you've done this for multiple years now and you've found success, do you find that you're going to have big changes in the development of books and the publication and the distribution of books in say the next 3 to 5 years? Or is it simply that we're going to find that there's going to be people that have better stories able to tell them better coming into the future?
This is a great question again. I like your questions. So, look, like I said, since I'm into education, and I feel like it's my responsibility to continue that fire inside of me. Like I really love education, and I have kids, so I feel that social media and all this digital marketing, digital world in general, YouTube is full of information and it's full of there's many different things that they can watch. We always want to do the best possible and bring good information. Education is never going to end. What's happening is there's more people taking their own courses and deciding their paths. If you see, a lot of people are talking about universities changing their curriculums. So obviously education in general, it's going to change. A book is not the same product as it used to be before. A book now, it's built for multiple intelligences. You can listen to it. I don't read books, but I listen to them. That book, the chapters, if someone doesn't like to read or listen to a book, they will rather go to a course where you're teaching exactly that, but with worksheets, because that's their learning style. That same book, could be repurposed in so many different ways. I don't think education is going to go anywhere. Actually, it's the second largest market that is growing under weight loss. So weight loss is the number one growing market, and then education. Because now we're all acquiring knowledge through the courses that we want. Either that's free or we're paying for them. But we want to learn now what we want to consume. So yes, everything is going to be changing, not just for authors. And the audiences and the readers are way more demanding now. We want better stories. We want human stories. We want real people sharing real things. All this lies that we've been sold on, this is how it goes, or this is how you make $1 million, and then they take their courses and it's a lie. You lost a person forever if you're lying. People want to connect with who you are as a person. Actually, on my LinkedIn, I'll send it to you so you can add it here. There's a new marketing funnel that actually Gen Zs are changing, and it's all about a loop. It's not even a funnel anymore. It's a loop. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to experience your product. I'm going to experience your course. I'm going to experience your book. Then I'm going to make a decision whether if I trust you or not. But if I trust you, I'm going to stay, and I'm going to stay forever. So I'm going to become your brand ambassador, and I'm going to tell my friends and everybody around like about your book or your product. So if you want to share also because it's a visual, I'm very visual. So it's a visual of the old marketing funnel and the new marketing funnel, because something that we are heading is trust. How can you make people trust you? And you cannot buy trust with ads. Trust, it's something very difficult to get from new consumers and from new readers. But once they trust you and they see you're real and they see your intentions, because even if we're interacting through screens, we can really read energy, we can really read intentions, and we can see if someone is really trying to do good or if someone is only trying to sell. So I will say the number one advice will be build that trust. And in order for you to build that trust with your audience and your community, it's try to do things that keep that trust going, because that has to be aligned. And it goes back to what I told you at the beginning. The only way that you're going to know how to build trust is if you have a brand book and if you're communicating your vision and your mission right since the beginning, because you only have, this phrase is real. You only have one chance to make a good first impression. There's no good second impression. And when someone just found you on socials, or they just got one of your emails, or they just found your book, it better be good. And there's a book called Focus that describes a lot about quality and perception of quality. And you really want to have quality on like anything that you're developing. Quality is everything for us, and that's how consumers now we're like, obviously content creators and all of those people are setting the bar too high on quality. And we want better books, and we want better TV shows, and we want better everything. So you have to be at that level if you really want to play in the major leagues of, book authors or in any marketing still, like even marketing. We have to get, when I hear someone saying I'm an expert on social media, I'm like, get out of here. Nobody's an expert on social media. It's changing every day. It's a software. Like tomorrow they have a new thing. Adam Mosseri just posted, yeah, you know what? Forget about the likes, forget about the followers. Now we want shares. And tomorrow he's going to come and they're going to say, okay, now we don't want shares. Now we want more X or Y or Z, or like, all these different things. We can't, on marketing, we're not experts anymore. We're explorers. We're always exploring what's next, what's new. And that's something should be driving us. And we have to curate information. When someone says, oh, I saw this thing on TikTok and it's great, let's try it, let's test it. I'm like, okay, you test it with your social media. You do it. And if that works for you, then use it for your clients. It's very irresponsible to go with a client and say, yeah, I have this knowledge, information. You got it from another. It might have worked for that account based on their community, based on their numbers, based on their algorithm, but every single algorithm is different. Even Meta today, when we're recording, Meta lowered their ad costs a lot. We just got over 5,000 clicks to a website with $500. And we got a lot of sales. That is an opportunity, right? And we just got it, but because we're always testing and exploring. And that communication should be always, when you're a marketer, you should be always communicating that with clients. I'm exploring, I'm testing. Like, again, and I see why marketing agencies are very hated all over the world for under delivering. And, it's because we don't say that. We're exploring, we're testing, we're not experts. We have to be vulnerable and humble enough to say, I'm not an expert. I know what I know my experience, but next year, this happened with LinkedIn. 2021. LinkedIn allowed you to send a lot of connections. You could even use a bot. And if you see all these people having 60,000 connections, 100,000 connections, that's because they started earlier. But now you only have a limit of 110, and you have to learn how to work with that. Now, LinkedIn, it's a lot like it's boosting video. Before, they had a different platform and a different structure. that they would just boost text only. So what makes us different in my team is that we're always, again, asking each other why, and we're always learning. And we would never tell one of our clients we're experts. And we've said we've done it. We've done it, and this is what happened, and this is our case study. But we'll see what we can do with yours, because I cannot promise you the results that I got with XYZ because you're not XYZ. So yeah, in a nutshell, just to answer your question, that's what I believe. That's what I think.
Keren, just 1.5 million golden nuggets there. I mean, from a little bit of information of entrepreneurs to authors to an understanding of your positioning to understanding just general business practice. I mean, you just have done an incredible job at representing what your agency is doing to help these authors get their books out, as well as some mindsets and some specific aspects that you should be looking at when you're looking at agencies, if you're in the book space or if you're not, if you're selling a product, a service, whatever it might be. So Keren, if someone's listening to this video and they're like, man, she is on top of the ball, I would love to connect with her and her team and figure out how to work together. How would they find you?
Yeah, you can just go to they can type Keren Camou on Google, which is the smartest way to find someone and stalk them and find the digital footprint. So they'll find my socials, KerenCamus.com. Yeah, pretty much that's how they can find me.
Beautiful. Some of that information is going to be found below in the description so you can easily connect with there. For the listeners, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And Keren, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you having here. And for any authors out there that are really trying to break through the mold, that are trying to get a strategy that aligns with their goals of their book and their business and ensure that their book launch, something that you work so hard to develop and get out into the network, is not a flop and is actually successful, make sure you reach out to Keren Camou and her team to make sure that your book is a successful launch. Again, Keren, thank you so much for your time, and entrepreneurs, business owners, we'll be talking to you soon.